Well, tonight we've seen a very responsible and realistic budget from the new government. The underlying economic forecasts we think are broadly in line with our own thinking, that growth will slow to 1.5% in 2023-24, that inflation will get up to 5.5% this year, and that the unemployment rate will get to 4.5%. In terms of new policies that could put upward pressure on inflation, only 0.1% of GDP in terms of new policies. That compares with 1.7% back in the budget in March and nearly 5% during the COVID years. And of course the key new policies were cheaper childcare, 4.7 billion and 3.5 billion for aged care. There was also some very welcome investment initiatives, 2.4 billion in the NBN, 1.2 billion to improve connectivity in the regional areas. But the big challenge that we saw in tonight's budget is the structural risks associated with the budget. And those are very much related to the cost of servicing the debt, which in the long-term projections is going to be up by $30 billion by 2033-34, and the NDIS, which will be up by about $28 billion by then. So overall, $80 billion more in expenditure than we saw in the March budget. And what that means is that when we project the long-term fiscal position, the debt to GDP ratio, which in the March budget was projected to stabilise at around 40% of GDP, is getting up to 47% of GDP, with no genuine sign that it's about to peak at that level. So the government has a fair bit of work to do to address these longer-term structural problems in the budget. So I would expect to see some much more incisive decisions to be made for the May budget next year to deal with these fundamental structural challenges that have emerged as a result of the interest cost, the cost of the NDIS, and to a lesser extent, increased cost in aged care and healthcare.